From MTN News, this is Montana This Morning.
Good morning. Welcome to Montana This Morning. We begin with a frigid look at Billings this morning. That's a live shot of King Avenue West. Looks like the snow is coming down out there, and boy, those temperatures well below zero here, just like much of the region. And good morning and welcome to Montana This Morning. This Friday, January 12th, I'm Diane Parker in for Augusta McDonald this month. These temperatures already closing at least one area school. That's Lame Deer students. They are scheduled for remote learning today at home. Area school officials were asking you to just please email us news@ktvq.com with any scheduled changes. We'll get those updates on the air as soon as we get them from you. All right, let's check in with Miller now. These cold temps, not just a day thing, not just like for one day, right?
No, it's all across the weekend. We're below zero right now, Diane, and everybody, we're going to be below zero all the way through Monday morning. Wind chills could get as low as 60 below in some spots across the weekend. Just brutally cold out there. Stay indoors as much as you can. We are dealing with some snow out there, some slick roads. The good news is the snow's not going to last. It's going to taper off as we go along this morning. Maybe some flurries through the afternoon, but that should be about it. Not a whole lot more snow anticipated with this. Just the cold Arctic air continuing to funnel in from the north. Actual temperature now 13 below here in Billings. Feels like 31 below. Winds out of the north at about 9 miles an hour. You take a look at temperatures across the state, all of us well below zero. Now let's take a look at the feels like temperatures. Feels like 57 below in Cupbank. Wow, 47 below in Lewistown, minus 42 currently in Jordan. We got 29 below in Miles City. Again, here in Billings, 31 below, minus 40 currently in Cody. As we take a look at those wind chill forecasts, it's just brutal out there, folks. Some of us, again, across the weekend, we could get down to 60 below. But the good news is we are going to start to warm up. Maybe by the time we get to the middle part of next week, even though it's going to be colder than average, we may see some areas trying to crack back above the freezing mark. So that's something we're going to look at. But look at this, all these warnings and advisories across the region. We'll break it down and talk about what's happening here locally with the main forecast coming up. Diane.
After months of talking about the Iowa caucuses of 2024, they're actually happening Monday. You may be looking for a bit of a refresher on how a caucus works. After all, it's not a primary nor an election where people cast a ballot at a voting booth. Reporter Joe St. George takes a closer look at what makes the caucuses fun for some, but annoying for others.
Iowa in January, what it lacks for in temperature, well, it makes up for in political intrigue. And part of that intrigue is just how unique the Iowa caucuses are and different from anything else on the political calendar. So what is a caucus? Well, it first involves places like a community center or a high school gymnasium. Even some restaurants are hosting caucuses this year. Caucuses happen at a specific time. 7 p.m. Central is when they begin. That means if you want to participate but work, well, you'll need to take time off. Most importantly, caucuses involve people who are assigned a particular location. 180,000 plus Iowans participated the last time Republicans had a competitive caucus, but the excitement for the candidates or even the weather can impact turnout. At every caucus site, the Republican Party has an official who is in charge. Remember, this is a political party event, not a state-run election. Caucuses usually start with speeches. In many cases, the campaigns have designated local captains to speak on their behalf. Longer speeches equal longer caucuses. After the speeches, there's a secret ballot vote. Once done, the person in charge submits the results via an app to the state party. Across Iowa, there are 1,657 precincts, so it can take some time to get a result. At stake, 40 delegates to the Republican National Convention, but it's not winner take all. In 2016, Senator Ted Cruz won the caucuses with 28% of the state, but he only got 8 delegates. Former President Trump finished second that year with 24% and received 7 delegates. You need around 1,235 delegates to clinch the Republican nomination. So Iowa really doesn't offer that many delegates when it's all said and done. But because it's first, it matters. And historically, if you do bad here in these caucuses, well, it could end your campaign. Joe St. George, Scripps News, Des Moines.
Here in Montana, yesterday marked the first day candidates could officially file to add their names to the ballot this November. Representative Matt Rosendale did not take the opportunity to enter into the Senate race against John Tester, despite speculation he's planning to do so. That didn't stop a number of Republicans from filing for Rosendale's Eastern Congressional District seat. Two Democrats, Ming Cabrera, a Heights Water Board member, and Kevin Ham, a businessman from Helena, are also running, but experts say they have an uphill battle.
They're really going to have to spend as much time running against each other as becoming known to the state.
Some of the big-name Republicans who have either announced or filed to run for the Eastern Congressional District include Superintendent of Public Instruction Elsie Arntzen, State Senator Ken Bogner, and State Auditor Troy Downing. We have a full list in this story on our website. And of course, anyone wanting to run in 2024 has 2 more months to file, meaning on March 11th, we'll have the final picture of who's in and who's out. This is video from yesterday morning when Montana Secretary of State Christy Jacobson's office began accepting filings. Despite sub-zero temperatures and blowing snow in Helena, more than 24 candidates went to the Capitol to fill out their paperwork and pay a filing fee in person. They included people running for Congress, 3 candidates for the Montana Supreme Court, and legislative candidates from all across the state. Filing in person is not mandatory. And now we head to the west end of Billings, where the campus of Rocky Vista University is already planning a massive expansion. Right now, the medical school is training a future crop of doctors to care for people, but now in the works, a veterinary medicine college for those who want to treat animals. Q2's Jackie Coffin has more.
These may just be grassy fields now, but soon they'll be transformed into a new program of veterinary science, filling a big need in Montana.
From Sydney to Superior, in Bridger to Box Elder, you'll hear it. There's a shortage of veterinarians across Montana. And it's a need that can put people in a difficult position between beloved pets and necessary care.
The vomiting puppy who, might have eaten part of its toy, can't get in, can't see anybody, 2 days, 3 days down the road. Now it's an emergency case.
That's why the news announced Thursday is a game changer.
We're on a timeline, if everything goes well with accreditation and building and other things, to have a class in 2026.
Rocky Vista University, which opened the state's first college of osteopathic medicine last July, announced it will build a college of veterinary medicine on its Billings campus, offering a very unique 3-year intensive veterinary program.
There's openings only for 4,000 applicants in the U.S. every year, and there's more than 12,000 qualified students. And so we're going to look for the best and the brightest, and certainly focus on students here in the Montana area.
The college expects 125 students when it opens in 2025. And to illustrate just how big of an impact a new veterinary school could have, Dr. Murtaugh draws this comparison. There are 155 medical schools across the country and only 30 veterinary colleges. Dr. Edie Best, a 30-year veterinarian in Billings, says that need is especially evident in agriculture.
I think that there could potentially be more need for large animal practitioners now than small animal. Maybe the money's not as good, the pay is not as good, the hours are definitely longer, they're more strenuous.
We're looking to make up that difference.
A win-win for the Billings community and beyond. In Billings, Jackie Coffin, MTN News.
2 pilots walk away from a plane crash in Livingston yesterday with just minor injuries. They were the only people on board the Learjet attempting to land it when the aircraft went sliding off an airport runway into a ravine on private property. The owner of Yellowstone Air Services speculates brake failure played a role in the crash, but the National Transportation Safety Board is investigating the cause. Now in national news, former President Trump defiantly made his voice heard during closing arguments in his New York civil fraud trial yesterday, clashing with the judge overseeing the case. CBS's Jared Hill has more on how the day unfolded.
I just said, this is a sham.
Former President Trump is making the courtroom a mainstay in his campaign. In a fiery speech Thursday during closing arguments of his New York fraud case, Trump criticized New York Attorney General Letitia James, defying the judge's ruling that he adhere to certain restrictions, telling the judge, You can't listen for more than 1 minute. This has been a persecution, prompting the judge to tell Trump's lawyer to, quote, control your client.
She's a political hack, the Attorney General. The judge is obviously extremely friendly with the group, and we'll see what happens.
Outside the court, Attorney General James said the trial has never been about politics.
The law applies to all of us, equally and fairly. I trust that justice will be done.
The New York judge has already found Trump, his 2 eldest sons, their company, and 2 executives liable for fraud on accusations that they inflated the value of assets to get more favorable loans and insurance. Now, Attorney General James is seeking a $370 million penalty and to have Trump barred from doing business in New York.
They should pay me damages. That's the way it should be.
The judge is expected to issue his decision by the end of the month. Jared Hill, CBS News, New York.
With primary election season about to kick off in just days, former President Trump's campaign calendar is expected to collide with his other legal cases. Yesterday, Trump told reporters he wants to go to all of his trials. The United States and Britain carried out strikes on targets in Yemen. The military move is retaliation for attacks by Iranian-backed rebels in the Red Sea, a vital trade route. In a statement, President Biden said, in part, he will, quote, not hesitate to direct further measures to protect our people and the free flow of international commerce as necessary.